Hi, thanks for dropping in to Luke-alike. It is an ongoing conversation, an open conversation, if you will, about the book of Luke or the Gospel of Luke as we find it in the New Testament of the Bible. In the study, we're just kind of looking at the passages as we go, and we're doing some stuff. And this particular episode for you is nothing but background. And so if you've ever wanted to know, here's the facts about the book. Luke is the author of the book. Luke is a doctor, but Luke also is not Jewish. That actually was a question one time that came in an email to ask Jeff, was Luke Jewish? And no, he was not. Different story for a different time, but he is the author of the book. It was written about AD 60. So Jesus would have been crucified and come back to life somewhere around that 30 to 35, 36 AD time. And so this has actually been recorded years later by eyewitness accounts that Luke would have gone out and researched. There are some themes that show up in the book of Luke that are important. The key themes are that Jesus was fully man and fully God, and a lot of Luke tries to deal and center with that. Jesus experienced the conflicts of life, yet in the midst of it all performed miracles. Jesus fulfilled God's mission, and he taught of God's kingdom. And then Jesus' death and resurrection make it possible for us to relate to God. Now, all those things are in the gospel, and you expect that, I think, in the Gospel of Luke. There are some key people, if you will. They're all important, but in here we meet Elizabeth, Zacharias, Mary, Joseph, Jesus, John the Baptist. You meet the disciples. And Luke 1, 3 through 4, we read another time the first 4 verses of Luke, but let me give you the verses for today. It seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all the things from the very first, to write to you an orderly account, most excellent Theophilus, that you may know the certainty of those things in which you were instructed. In other words, Luke writes the book, an orderly account. He's done his research to know that into this letter to his friend Theophilus, he is going to put the things that will introduce Theophilus to the events surrounding the life of Christ. By way of content, Jesus' birth and preparation are there in the first few chapters of the book of Luke. Then there is a section of Luke that deals with the ministry of Jesus, as Jesus began to move and do ministry and move about the countryside and through the towns and the people that he met along the way. And then there's Jesus' ministry in the midst of conflict. In other words, when the pressure was on and Jesus was under the spotlight, if you will, the way that he did ministry, there's a focus on that in the book of Luke. And then there is an emphasis on the last week of Jesus, including the resurrection then later, and then his ascension 40 days later. All of that compiles the book of Luke. Scholars have suggested that the events that take place as Luke unfolds actually begin around 6 BC. Now again, so Luke has had to go back, he's had to listen to the stories and do the research to get to the moment to take off and begin writing all these things that he's going to be putting into the narrative. That's the book of Luke. That's what the book's about. And that's what it looks like. And so, since that's what it looks like, I'll join you in another episode of Luke-alike as we continue our lifelong study of the book of Luke.